Well, what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas for the NASCAR Cup Series. We have officially kicked off the round of 8. I'm here with my favorite crew chief, Steve Letarte. We're live, obviously, from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Alex Weaver, excited to be back with you guys here on Inside the Race, but even more excited to get some emotion from one of the greatest in the sport. 60 wins. Denny Hamlin punches his ticket into the championship for.
Yeah, I'll admit, I wasn't ready for the tears. I mean, the drive was amazing. I've been around Denny forever, and the tears. He even said he was like, "This is normally where I give I'm going to clean it up. This is where I give the crowd a little crap," is what he said, something like that. When you're on cable, but it was amazing to see the tears. I think it's just a good reminder that all of these drivers do a great job of putting an act on for us, and we love that when the shield comes down. And it was obviously his father. And 60 wins and a lot going on, but the drive, it's up there. It's single digits of some of the best driving I have seen, and I've been around for Jimmy's 7th and a bunch of different races, but those closing laps, things didn't go right away, and he found a way to keep going forward. It was unreal. So much fun to call.
Well, we have a stacked show, a lot to break down on this race, but we also have some friends of Inside the Race joining us. Jeff Burton, Kyle Petty are going to hop in the studio here in just a little bit, joining us virtually, but Steve, for you, when you look at these stats that Denny just raked up with this race, I mean, I don't know what's the biggest caveat that he gets from this. The ticket to the championship 4, he's locked in 2 weeks ahead of schedule. The 60th win, he's 10th all-time on the all-time list, ties with Kevin Harvick. Which one for you kind of?
60. Okay. 60 and 6 wins at 44. Look, I think every athlete, I've been fortunate enough to work with some of the best drivers in the world, and I've been friends with other athletes, and they talk with this fear that, like, you just don't know when the valve shuts off. Like, Father Time's going to win.
Yep.
You don't know when it's coming, and some people get a little glimpse. Some people, you win like when Jimmy Johnson won his 83rd, I'm like, he's going to win 90. And he got stuck at 83. Yeah. So for Denny, at 44, to do what we're witnessing right here, the drive today was even Kyle Larson was almost lost for words to describe what Denny Hamlin did. So for me, I said this after St. Louis, and this is crazy. I don't need a Hamlin championship at this point. 60 wins, top 10 of all time. I think he's earned it. I think he deserves it. I would love to see him be crowned as the champion just because of what he's done in the sport. But I don't think it changes his place in NASCAR history. This guy's a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer in my mind, not to mention the ownership. So it's 60 wins. 6 after 44 is going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, Denny does a lot for the sport. He's the oldest Las Vegas Cup winner. The previous record was Sterling Marlin back in 2002, who was a tinge younger than Denny. So Denny officially beats that. But let's bring in the mayor here, Jeff Burton. I know he's here on Inside the Race because he obviously has been around the sport for a long time. He has watched these drivers grow, and you have raced with Denny, but also watched Denny as an owner and as a driver now as he's continued his career. What do you think of this 60 wins, and what do you make of the 10th all-time on the list?
Look, I'm super impressed with what Denny Hamlin is doing, especially this year. Denny's always been a really good driver, but this year, to me, it's the best version of Denny Hamlin that we've ever seen. Early, I think Denny just wasn't ready to win a championship. The moment was too big for him, and now it's like 180-degree difference. Now I think he relishes in the big moment. I think he relishes in the spotlight being on him, and he's just at 44. He is just so good at what he does. And Steve talked about the drive. Listen, I've been in that car, been in a car like that late in a race. I know what Denny Hamlin just did to get the speed out of that race car, to put it on the edge, and just to roll and just go make something happen. That's magical stuff. When you win races like that, you'll never forget it. And I think I know he's a polarizing figure, right? And he likes it that way. But you may not like him, but you should respect him. You should respect him and what he's able to do. 60 wins is an unbelievable number. I'm with Steve. I think, look, I'm really good friends with Mark Martin. He's one of the best that hasn't won a championship. And I wish he had. I wish for Mark he would have won a championship. So for Denny, I would like to see him win a championship. He's he's going to get in the Hall of Fame really easily, for sure. The only thing missing is that championship.
Jeff, for you, what feels different this year? Why can Denny win a championship?
Mentally, he's ready.
Okay.
Mentally. Steve's been in this grind. You get in this, and it's not easy. It is very difficult when the lights come on and the pressure is there to go execute. And he's ready, and the team's ready. The Toyotas are fast. The team's right. He's right. But I just think emotionally, he's the strongest he's ever been.
I don't think so. In my mind, we talk a lot about star and star power in this. He might not win the most popular driver vote, but there's zero doubt in my mind who the biggest star in the NASCAR garage currently is, and it's not even close at that point. And I think it's what makes stardom. And what I mean by that is, you can say it's because he owns a team with Michael Jordan. You can say it's because he has his podcast. But what is the exclamation point for stardom is that you are the best at what you should be the best at. And that is him as a race car driver, right? Like the other stuff's the add-ons.
Yep.
But it's hard to be a star if you're just okay.
You have to be good to be a star.
Right. So in my mind, like he has the it factor for the garage for me, right? He flies around on the jet. He's not afraid to say he flies around the jet. He wears a jump man on the Fire City. He owns a race team with the guy. Like
helicopter pad at his house.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm okay that fans don't like him.
Me
I'm
too.
okay that fans like him. Polarizing, you said, Jeff. I think that's a great word, right? And I think that he gets an emotional reaction from everyone, in opposite directions for some, but from everyone. That's what any sport needs. That's what NASCAR needs. And I'm glad somebody is doing it on and off the racetrack, man. Everywhere you turn, it's Denny Hamlin.
Well, we have hit all the spots here at Las Vegas because we can turn around and wave to Jeff Burton. He's in the infield there. Steve and I are obviously up here in the booth. And then we're going to bring in Kyle Petty, who's staying at one of the famous hotels here in Las Vegas at the South Point. So let's see if we can get KP his internet now. He's on the hotel internet, so
he wouldn't pay for the premium plan. He's on the free plan, aren't you, KP?
No, that's exactly. I'm on the free. I'm on the gas plan, man. I'm on the gas plan.
KP, as we're hearing Jeff, Steve obviously talking a lot about Denny Hamlin. What do you make of this 60th win for him and locking into the championship 4?
So listen. I've been saying this for maybe the last year, maybe the last 2 years. Denny Hamlin's going to be the last guy to 60. I don't care what anybody says. He's going to be the last guy. This was Kyle Larson's win. This went in Kyle Larson's column that got him closer to 60. And Denny stepped up and took it away. And that's the issue. The issue for guys getting to that point, because wins are spread out over the course of so many drivers now. When I look at it, I look at like this is a huge deal. I also look at Denny, and Jeff tapped onto it a little bit. But in the past, at this point in time, we're always talking about Denny, championship. We've been talking about 60 for the last 4 months. The total focus, what we looked for out of Denny is totally different this year. So I think it's a huge moment. I'm going to say this, and I may disagree with some of what you guys said a minute ago. I don't think until he.
See, this is what happens. You get KP near the
hooked up
Strip in Vegas. Okay, now he's coming back. There we go.
Dang. I apologize.
You're good. You were getting
just
about
so fired
every
up.
third
My
word.
computer's mad.
But I heard
Yeah,
Michael Jordan.
listen.
And for Denny, let me tell fans, though, and this is not a championship pick for me. I am not biased, but I do know one thing, that if Denny Hamlin wins the championship after trying for so long and having 2 weeks to prep and going to a place like Phoenix and Scottsdale, the party will be epic.
Oh, boy.
No doubt for me what a Denny Hamlin championship party is going to be like. JB, I want to talk to you, too, because as we look ahead to what these next 2 weeks mean for these teams, when you go to a place like Talladega, which Steve and I are going to talk about a little bit later on the show, and then you have Martinsville, what does this championship pressure feel like right now for these field of drivers, these 7 that are left to lock into a 4?
Well, it feels great for Denny. Right now they can just completely focus on Phoenix. And I think that's important, because if you think about, they've been vocal about saying they're behind Penske when it comes to Phoenix. So now that team can 100% focus on that race. And when you feel like you're behind, having time to focus on it could be a big advantage. Now, I don't know how you know if you made it better or not until you get there. That's the difficult part. But I think for them, that's a big advantage. Look, it just depends on where you are in points, right? I mean, William Byron could have had a much worse day than he did, got in that wreck, but, he still gained a fair amount of points. He's not in a must-win situation. I think if you're Logano and both the Penske cars probably need to feel like they're in a must-win situation. But I also think they're really good going to the racetracks they're going to. So it just depends on your situation. Kyle Larson has not been good at restrictor plate type races or drafting type races. That has not been his strength. But he doesn't have to have a great day. He can have a solid day and be just fine. But everybody's nervous about Talladega. There's no question. Hell, you're nervous about Talladega if you're not racing for points. But then, then it follows up with Martinsville. And we've seen it. Anything can happen at Martinsville. And look, I want to say this too about Martinsville. Is I don't think you can look at Martinsville and think that you've seen the race we're going to see in a few weeks. Goodyear tire is drastically different than what we have seen. And the tires have made a massive difference in the races over the last month and a half. We have seen incredible races. Today's race was incredible. We have seen really good racing, and some of that is because of the tire. Going to Martinsville, I don't know that we know what to expect. And I think these unknowns for all the teams, it makes it difficult for them, but I think it makes it fun for us.
Well, we have 2 weeks left of racing before we will know the championship four that are into Phoenix. But while we have these two drivers still with us inside the race, I want to take a look at the last restart, the massive wreck that was a pileup here. Steve, I want you to kind of break down this perfect storm of chaos as we watch it, and then we'll have the drivers' take on it.
Well, it takes a push and a shove, and you have to get three wide. And what I really simply saw was the Bowman did a really nice job of getting three wide with Larson. And I think the row behind that with the 54 and the 88 and the 20, like right there, just imagine driving down the interstate with no painted lines.
No.
That's really what happened here, right? It's not that anyone did anything wrong. It's that there aren't lines. There isn't lane 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are 4 lanes, but where does lane 2 end and lane 3 begin? And the positioning required. And what people forget is they're only probably running 135 or 40 miles an hour here. So what I mean by that is they're very confident to put cars in positions that they probably can't do at 200. And they're positioning because they know an inch on corner entry can be a car length on corner exit. And it just ends up with, lane changes with no signals on. And that's what happens, like wrecking on the interstate.
Yeah, KP, we saw the 19 and the 22 make a strategy call of taking those two tires. That's why I say like the perfect storm for chaos, because there was just so much going on in this field after we come off of pit road. But what did you see here making of the restart wreck?
Yeah, and we did see, Briscoe and Logano take two tires. But we didn't see what we see sometimes with that, where the front row doesn't go anywhere. This front row accelerated. It got away from them. It opened up the door for this. And I think, and I like the freeway analogy from Steve. It's like, and we've all been in it on a 3-lane highway. You're in one lane and in the outside lane, and there's somebody else in the far outside lane, and you both move to the center at the same time. And a little bit, that's what we saw. These guys going to the center at the same time, and the accident happened.
Jeff, what did you see on this restart? I know you were watching it up in the booth there, but walk us through now that you've had a chance to watch it probably 20 times.
Yeah, I have watched it 20 times, and if I slow it down and really slow motion, I can say, well, this driver did this and he shouldn't have, and that one did that and he shouldn't have. That's not the real world. The real world is there's a few laps left in the race, and there's a restart, and you have to be willing to make it 3 wide. If you don't make it 3 wide, the guy behind you is going to make it 3 wide on you. Now you're in the middle going backwards. This is just racing. I mean, I think we're bad about always wanting to point a finger. It has to be that guy's fault. This is all the drivers on the racetrack knowing it's a short race. Got to go get something. Got to make something happen. Cars trying to be, too many cars in one small spot. It's just, it happens. I mean, I have a saying, racing happens, and that's what that was. I don't really see anything that one person did that was just way wrong. I just saw a lot of people trying to get a good finish.
KP, did you see anything that you were surprised that we got at Las Vegas today? After knowing this racetrack, knowing all the grooves, all the lanes you can take here, were you shocked at anything?
You know what? I don't think I was shocked at anything. I think it was. I agree with Jeff. I thought it was a phenomenal race. Really, there was racing all day long. Yeah, you'd see, Byron get out front or Larson get out front, but there were comers and goers. We saw the 9 car. We saw the 48. I mean, Letarte. Steve talked about Alex Bowman a lot. He just came up through there. We saw a lot of big movers that came from the back to the front. So. It was a good racetrack to race on, a good racetrack. You could pass, you could make different things happen, and I agree with Jeff too, that the tires are changing racing week in and week out. Every time you go somewhere, they are doing a lot for the sport. And I think today we saw a race where even at the end, where you had guys take 2 tires, had guys take 4 tires, you had guys running in 4 different lanes through the corners. So, man, as a race fan, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see when I go to any racetrack.
All right, KP, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Your internet, of course, on the last 2 was, it was
perfect.
Spotless now. You're clear as a whistle.
Yeah, you want to take a run at Denny Hamlin comments now, just real quick? You want to tell us what you didn't like? Because now the floor is yours.
Sure.
Here's your chance.
No. Yeah, okay. So this is what I was trying to say about Denny is I think Denny became that being with Michael Jordan, being 2311, stepping to a different place, being on a podcast, being as vocal as he has become, has elevated him above what his stats are and has enhanced what his stats are. I don't think if Denny had continued down the road that he was going, that he was going to be the star or the superstar that we want to place him there. I just don't. I think these are enhancements that allow him to be that guy. He was just a driver, just kicking butt and taking names, and he was going to get to 60. But I don't believe he had that cachet, that swagger that he has now, that he has on his podcast, that he has because of Michael Jordan in 2311, that he has as an owner. I think he's moved into a different realm in the last 10 or 12 races that he's won. And again, I do believe, honestly, in all my heart and soul, and until somebody steps up and proves me wrong, that Denny Hamlin is going to be the last guy that plants his flag at 60. And I'm not so sure that 60 is going to be the number that he stops on, because I think he's got more wins left in him, and he's going to move forward. I don't care whether he ever wins a championship. Nobody ever talks about Junior Johnson and says, hey, he won all these races, but he never won a championship. You talk about Junior Johnson as a driver and an owner, and that's what we're going to talk about Denny Hamlin, as a driver and as an owner.
I know when Kyle Petty gets fired up, don't let the internet slow him down. We lost a little something there, so we had to go back to the well. KP, man, I appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Kyle. See you soon. Well, while we have Jeff Burton still here, let's talk this rough day for playoff drivers. And I want to look at one in particular because it was a good day gone bad for William Byron. This 24 had the fastest car on Saturday. They come out, show a ton of speed, wins that opening stage, but then this disastrous wreck. He ended up finishing 36th, but I will say, JB, it was the first time that William Byron has led since Daytona in August, and just the 3rd time he's led in the past 16 races. But man, this is not how you want your day to end.
No, it's not, and it's just a lot of circumstances that stacked up to make this happen. It was not in a normal cycle, so he had, as far as expecting that Ty was going to be pitting, he had no expectation he was going to be pitting. Ty did not signal to anyone that he was going to pit. The spotter says that he communicated, and that's all hand gestures. He communicated. The spotter on the 24 did not see it. So just multiple things in regard to lack of communication, and that's dangerous. I mean, it's more than just taking a guy that's racing for the championship, hurting his chance to win a championship. It's also a very dangerous situation. I don't think that Ty Dillon was up the racetrack too far. I just think it was a lack of communication. Ty thought that his spotter was going to let him know, and it just didn't work out. So that's a tough way. And I don't know what could William have done different here. That's the thing I look at as a race car driver. Every wreck I ever got into, whether it truly was my fault or not, I still felt like, what could I have done different? And if I'm William Byron, I'm looking back and I'm saying, okay, as a driver, I don't think I could have done any different. But we've got to find a way to not let that happen again from a communication standpoint. And things like this happen, and it's a reminder to all the drivers, get your hand out the window, let them know you're pitting from behind, don't trust your spotter. But it's very, very disappointing. I will say this, though, and I said it earlier, they did a really good job of getting stage points. And so on a day that could have been a lot worse than it was, they're not in a must-win situation because of what they did in the stages. And also, to your point, I've been worried about that team. Where have they been? Where has the speed been? I mean, they were horrible at several of these races, and today they looked like that race team that we all thought we would see in the playoffs.
I mean, for me, it's simple.
A hand out the window?
A hand out the window. So here's my opinion. As humans, we all make mistakes.
Sure.
But our goal is to put ourselves in position that when things go wrong, as Jeff just said, you go, man, I don't know what I could have done different. I'm going to try to learn from it. Mm-hmm. We didn't know, Jeff, right? We had to wait till we heard the interviews. But after I put all the pieces together that I have right now post-race and the video evidence I have, I don't know if it changes anything, but a hand out the window would have made this just a really unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
Now I feel like it's an error. It's an error on the driver who's running 185 miles an hour, and he's going to go around the corner and he's going to slow down. I was unsure if he was too high. I've looked at a bunch of pit stops. I think there were cars even higher on the racetrack. It was outside the cycle, all of those things. But these simple, hey, just all you had to do, just a hand. And look, you've gone down the interstate, not changed lanes. Kyle just talked about it, right? So I don't want to put this on Ty Dillon like, oh my goodness, it was the most egregious thing we've ever seen. Because it would be mislabeled, right? But it's a mistake. Like, I'm sorry. Very simply, as a race car driver, you have to put your hand out the window, as I understand it. I've never driven one. I asked Jeff on the air, and what'd you say, Jeff? Yes, it's like a requirement. It's a must-do thing. We saw Mark Martin in one heck of a wreck at Charlotte in this same situation. So we've seen it before, and I hate that Ty didn't put his hand out the window because I'm not sure. Maybe Byron doesn't see it and the same thing happens, but then we could just chalk it up to unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah.
But right now, unfortunately, the driver of the 10 is going to have to shoulder the responsibility of not clearly signaling and leaving it up to the spotters, and the spotter stand can be chaotic.
Jeff, it may not be rule number 1 of a driver, but it has to be rule 1 through 5 at least, that you stick your hand out of the window when coming to pit road, right?
I think you should signal. I think it's look, I think it's a simple thing to do. I do think that there are times when, I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? So I do think the spotter role has changed 1,000% over the last 10 years. They do communicate differently than they ever have. But I will say here, if you look where the spotters are, they're not all, some of them are a level different than the other ones. They're literally on the side of the spotter stand, some are at the top. So again, Steve said it well, get your hand out the window. You at least do that. If something happens, then it happens. But yeah, it was a lack of communication for sure.
All right, Jeff. Well, as we head to Talladega, give us a little preview of that wild card that is the beast in Alabama.
Well, so look, there were a couple races every year that I didn't get nervous before races except for Daytona and Talladega. And I was always nervous before them because I knew it was a pretty good chance I was going to land on top of somebody or somebody was going to land on top of me. And there's nothing you can do except get in the pack, hold the throttle down, and go try to make something happen. Now, I wasn't very good at it because only won one in my career. But I really believe that going to this race, you have to be on offense. The only way to be successful at these types of racetracks is get track position and then do everything in your power to keep it. And that's the ones that we've seen have the most success. Clearly, the strategy played, and this is where I think Penske has an advantage. They're going to qualify well. They're going to have fast race cars. But if you look at the end of these races where you have green flag pit stops, you have people trying to be efficient on how they use fuel and when they put fuel on, I am convinced that Penske does it better than everybody else. And their teams work together better than everybody else. They have a plan. They stick to it. If it needs to move, they move it. I think it's an advantage to them. Now, I will say this. I've also seen all of them wreck on the same lap. So you just don't know what's going to happen. But if I'm going there, I'm going on offense. I don't care if I'm Kyle Larson and where I am in points. I'm still going on offense because there's an opportunity to get stage points. There's also an opportunity to be in a big wreck. We saw it today with William Byron. Go get stage points. Get points wherever you can. The only way to do that is be in the front and being aggressive.
I've not seen any strategy guarantee success, so I want to succeed trying. It's as simple as that.
I'm not even inside the race car, and Talladega stresses me out.
Yeah,
so.
simply, I mean, the simple fact is just that. I don't believe there's any mathematical calculation or any guarantee. All of that is just a bunch of voodoo. So if it's going to go bad, gosh darn it, we're going to go bad trying.
Yeah.
We're not going to wait for something to hit us, right? Like I'm going to strike first. Dale Jr. taught me that. He said two things, that if you take every single run, people will believe in you. And the other thing he taught me, and I didn't think of this, he said, I'm telling you, I don't care what the rules are, every race feels different. And if I don't survive at the front all day, even when I make the wrong block, the right move, if you want me to win this in the last 3 laps, I have to live it all day. Because if you think I'm going to cruise around in the back and then just go up here and make the right swerve at the right time, how? He goes, they're living, breathing things, these races. And everybody's cars are a little different. And last time I checked, he was really good at it. So I'm going to just listen to Dale Jr. and say offense, offense, offense.
I'm going to listen to Dale Jr. I'm also always going to listen to Jeff Burton. So everybody turn around and wave
I know.
to Jeff Burton there in the infield.
Hey, Alex,
Yes.
I know this is late, but I haven't seen you since you're new. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That's fun to see on your social stuff.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. We picked the same week as Harrison and Jenna, so it was a good week for all of us to add some members to the family.
Well, I hope you remember more of yours than I do of theirs. I have some black
That's how
spots.
you're supposed to do it, Dad. That's how you're supposed to do your son's wedding. I love it.
I'll check the box that Jeff was on offense. Jeff was on offense.
Aggressive.
I did go on
Aggressive.
offense.
All right, Mayor. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so before we wrap things up on the William Byron, obviously we heard Jeff Burton's thoughts. I want to get the sound from the driver of the 24 because we heard from him outside of the infield care center. So let's play that right now.
Lack of information being transmitted. Yeah, I never saw him wave. I didn't see any indication that he was pitting, and it was probably 12 to 15 laps after we had pitted, so I thought the cycle was fully over. Nobody said anything to my spotter from what I know. I had zero idea. Everybody's been wrapping the paint really far around the corner, and that's what I was doing to have a good lap. And I was watching him thinking, okay, he missed the bottom a little bit here, and then he just started slowing, and I was like, had no idea what was going on. So I'm just devastated. I had no indication, so I obviously wouldn't have just driven full speed in the back of him like that.
Obviously being devastated because what could have been a winning day for the 24 of William Byron, a ton of speed this weekend.
Can I say high road, though?
Yeah, sure.
Well, just so, like, William's one of the nicest people I know. He could have easily lost his mind, and I'm sure the fan base would have piled up. Like he was, you could tell he was a little shocked is the right word, so I think there was some shell shock there. But I thought he chose his words very well, right? Like
always does,
in the
usually.
biggest moments, right? As heartbroken as he was, I'll give him, class. He gets the class award.
Yeah, well, he is right now heading to Talladega, not in a must-win, but he's 15 points below the cut line and sitting in the 5th spot. So I know a day he wishes he could get back. Let's talk some more playoff drivers who had mistakes. One massive one that has now put him at the absolute bottom of the playoff standings is Ryan Blaney. We've seen Penske, and particularly this 12 car, have problems with tires on these mile-and-a-half intermediate tracks. What did you see from the 12?
So I'm going to let him off the hook here just because no one else had any issues. I think the biggest advantage is in the rear air pressure, the way I understand it. So I'm going to say this is just a super unfortunate situation for the left front to fail on the 12 car, run over a piece of debris. I'm not, if this would have been a rear tire and he instantly found a tremendous amount of speed, I hope the fans know that I would have hit the gavel and said, well, they did it to themselves. But I just don't believe that's the case here. I could be wrong, but I didn't have any of the evidence in front of me. Really all weekend long, everybody I talked to, there wasn't a lot of fear with front tire issues. So I think that this is what makes auto racing heartbreaking. This is what emotionally emptied my bucket and forced me to go to TV, right? You can only do so many things right for something abstract to go wrong, and then here's Blaney at the bottom with, look, he didn't have the best car here, but we don't know how it would have shook out. All you want is a chance to see, and they were eliminated, by what I'm going to consider is just a bad luck situation.
Ryan Blaney finished last, his 3rd straight Las Vegas race that he's finished 32nd or worse. Let's hear from the driver, YRB.
Any warning that the right front was going down, Ryan?
Nope, no warning. So the left front tire blew. into 3, and yeah, unfortunate going home early.
What do you do from now on? I mean, you've won Talladega twice in the fall, won Martinsville twice in the fall. Do you kind of rest on the fact of how good you've been at those 2 tracks, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you look forward to those. Obviously, we have to look forward to them. Not the spot you want to be in. I actually thought we got our car fairly decent there, and just looking forward to keep going and never got it. But yeah, I mean, pretty simple. Got to go win one of the next 2 weeks, and hopefully we can rebound and do it.
I will say a good question by Marty there too, because
That's
Ryan,
right.
he does have success at Talladega. Obviously, we never know what Talladega can bring, but multiple years Ryan Blaney has won at Martinsville to lock himself into the championship for.
What I will say, though, is we meet the TV. We have the opportunity to meet with all 16 drivers the week leading into Darlington. And one very consistent answer was, hey, you know, not who are you afraid of, that's the wrong way. It's like, hey, who has your eye the most?
Yeah.
And the consistent answer in all of those rooms from driver to us is the 12 just has speed. Man, they have speed. Man, they're just fast. They're just, you know, like in a different verbiage, every driver pointed to the 12 as the one that has been consistently the fastest. And I think that's what makes this situation tougher to swallow. Like, you know, he will, there's no doubt that Jonathan Hassler and Ryan Blaney will show up at Talladega on full go to try to win that race. I think they would, even if they had a great day here today.
Yeah,
I don't think
agree.
that changes that. But it's going to take, like, you got to let the sting kind of get washed out. It's going to take a couple days to get past this one, because there's going to be a lot of what ifs. And I think their goal now is they have 2 weeks to make the what ifs not linger through the offseason. Because if you get it done the next 2 weeks, then you forget about Vegas.
31 points below the cut line.
I don't think that's a must-win.
I agree with that.
Like I think next week, he could easily leave. Look, I don't think he's going to jump way ahead, but he could leave single digits within the cut line. He could leave -5, -7, and that's like a whole new life.
Yeah, you also have, and Steve said it on the broadcast, about like the favorites still remain in the field. This 8 is stacked with
Totally.
any driver can win a championship out of
Yep.
these 8 drivers. But I think looking at the field, anybody also can wreck and have a horrible day at Talladega.
Oh.
It's how Talladega goes. So not a must-win for me with the 12 either. Okay, let's take a look now at Chase Elliott. Had a mistake today. Finished 18th.
This one's going to hurt.
This is a driver mistake.
Well,
Right?
no. First one, he slid long. This tire that rolled away, you know,
Uncontrolled tire,
It's uncontrolled
not-
tire.
yeah,
It's so
yeah.
so yes, the driver mistake.
first
He was
one,
long
yes.
in the pit box, but then this one, the tire changer kind of rolls the tire. I don't know if it catches the hose. It doesn't look like it catches the
I don't
hose.
see
It looks
it.
like it just kind of turns. So I confirmed with NASCAR. I thought really on the broadcast I said it was the crew member, and they said, look, you know, the crew member is the obvious one if it's not way outside your box when you start impeding another pit stop. But I cleaned up with Elton Story. He said, you know, to be honest, once you get halfway through the next pit box,
Yep.
whether the other crew member would have touched it or not, it's really indifferent. Halfway is it's uncontrolled now. I think
Okay.
that's a fair. It used to be like arm's length and all these silly rules. You get half a pit box, and you know, half of me says, man, it doesn't matter, but there has to be rules. And this is one, and I think it's very clear. We saw the video of Allen getting down and talking to Nick Odell. It's just a real small thing that can make a big difference. And the bigger thing for me, to be quite honest, was I thought they were going to recover. When you look at the finishing order and the drivers that finished ahead of him, I'll be honest, I would love to know. I can't wait to talk to Allen this week and see how much damage he had from the front stretch wreck. Because he said he got hit pretty hard in the left rear and he had something wrong with his car, as I think kind of what I heard in the radios. Because I think he could have, maybe not top 5 recovered, but Kyle Busch was up. There was cars that recovered and moved forward, and I thought the 9 could have overcome the pit crew issue. But so the damage is still the outlier. As we sit right here today, I'm not sure the 9 was healthy on the last 8 or 10 laps. That's going to be a little recon mission this week.
How difficult is it to make it to Phoenix and race for a championship when you're making mistakes, even what may seem small?
Well, I said, listen, pit crews are like kickers. You know, they're statistically going to miss some.
Yeah.
And you just hope that it's not the game-winning extra point.
Yeah.
You hope that it's the kick in the first quarter that you can still. And so what happened on that pit stop is going to happen to every probably front tire changer at some point. It's, you know, much like the Ty Dillon thing, like errors happen. But So I want to be clear. Like when I analyze professional sports, we analyze them different than we talk about how people live their lives and act in every day, because it's an athletic performance and it's a mistake. It's like missing a shot or a holding penalty or something like that.
Pressure filled every second.
And it's pressure filled. And I don't know if this is a pressure mistake, but the simple fact is the box score will say penalty, 9, execution, uncontrolled tire.
Yeah.
And that is what it is. Now look, glass half full. I thought the Hendrick cars were really, really good. Byron outstanding, Larson outstanding. I thought Chase Elliott, I know he won at Kansas, qualified top 5, but they showed up here right again. They were in the speed. So I think they have to feel good about the speed they brought.
If we look at Chase, it's this is how you know you're getting old, when you have to look at your notes up close.
I couldn't even cheat off her notes, even with my glasses.
Chase Elliott is 23 below the cut line. He's in the 6th position again. Though.
Why not? Why not win next week? I mean, right? Like he's right in the mix.
Won at Talladega before.
Yeah, right in the mix.
Yeah, can definitely get it done.
Look, we have I try to say this, and I'm not trying to disrespect the other 8 that made the playoffs, but every year, you sometimes like, oh man, I didn't see a lot of surprises. Like we brought the long shot of the group was probably Joey Logano from the year, and I'm like, man, of all 8, Vegas. Hey, we're in Vegas. The odds makers will say we had the 8 favorites. So that's what makes the next 2 weeks must-see TV. Because I think that I don't know if a playoff driver will win Talladega, but I can make a really good argument for any of them.
And one of them, Steve mentioned it, Joey Logano was having an okay day. It wasn't terrible, but he rebounded after taking 2 tire stop. And they were on the radio, he and his crew chief, Paul Wolf, and he was basically like, this is a we've got nothing to lose scenario, right? And Paul said, yeah, we've been in it all day. This is a nothing to lose. So he rebounded to a 6th place finish. He's only 24 below the cut line in the 7th position. We're walking through all the drivers. All the drivers that are below this cut line right now. Joey's one of them.
Yeah, right where he came in. The opposite of the 9. I think the 22 just didn't have the pace. They just were not good enough. They couldn't really manufacture stage points. They manufactured a great finish. It is as much a Paul Wolf, Joey Logano finish as we've ever seen.
Yeah. I thought at one point they were going to win the race.
I mean, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? For sure. Look, it's the postseason. I mean, you got to bring your best. And I think, look, I'm not saying that Paul wouldn't say if he was sitting right here, he'd be like, well, that's just not good enough.
Yeah.
Like, we're not fast enough.
Joey would say the same thing.
Yeah, totally.
So those are the 4 drivers. It's William Byron, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney that are below the cut line heading to Talladega next week. As we look up front, Denny Hamlin, enjoy your sleep for the next 2 weeks, Denny. He's just going to be chilling at the house with the kids. And then it's Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe. And what separates these guys, Kyle Larson has 35 above, Christopher Bell 20 above, Chase Briscoe 15 above. I mean, anything can happen.
So I think if you're Larson, you can mathematically put it away.
Okay.
Like, you
next
could,
week?
Yeah, like same thing. You need to go there and race. If you have a monster day, even without a win, you could be like, hey, I think we're going to be the points guy, depending on who wins and doesn't win. And then for Briscoe, and I thought Briscoe had a really, really good car that kind of lost the handle. He got into the wall, bent the toe link a little bit, it sounded like, from the radio. And then a great 2-tire call from James Small there.
How much did that affect the 19, though, hitting the wall?
Oh, I think, look, they're all so good. I think that took a potentially winning car to not a top 7 or 8 car. I think it knocked the speed out of it. I know that's crazy that little hit does, but these guys, I say this all the time, they're surgeons, man. They are not driving with hammers. These guys are so good. And that's the difference. I think that knocked enough speed out of that car that it was no longer a winning car.
So that's how they stack up in our playoff pressure cooker, the standings here as we enter into.
And the heat's on.
The heat is on. It's go time. Yeah, and especially these 2 racetracks left, Talladega, Martinsville. I mean, it's just our last intermediate track, we saw it here today at Vegas. So we are done with the 1.5 miles. So we now will have a drafting racetrack. We have a short track, and then Phoenix is the dog leg and the mile of Phoenix. I mean, that Phoenix is just its own beast in itself too. But to get there, you have to go through what is the biggest and baddest racetrack that we see all year. I love me some Talladega, Alabama. There is no place like it. October, we're heading there. The leaves are changing. The mountains of Alabama are beautiful. And then my heart rate just goes through the roof on Sunday in typical NASCAR Cup Series fashion.
So TV me loves it. Crew chief me hated it.
I'm sure.
And Jeff Gordon and I won both races there in 07. And, when I say I hated it, what I didn't like is, I know this is going to be a shocker, but crew chiefs have a bit of a control issue.
Oh.
And you're literally it's not out of your hands because I hate, it's a bingo ball. That's all BS. Fast cars run better. Pit calls matter. Track position matters. So you still have a hand in success. There's just more out of your control than any racetrack we go to. So don't confuse the two, because that frustrates me. With like, oh, we're just going to throw all the numbers up. I'm like, that's a slap in the face to anybody who's had success there. Like, what did Burton just say? When you go 200 miles an hour, your commitment level, there's a lot of things that go into this. It's just, I wasn't a good race fan. I wanted to be a crew chief. And when you have your last pit stop there, it's like, good luck, old buddy. I'm just a fan. I can't help you.
Yeah.
And I think that the drivers are the same way. They have more control issues than crew chiefs. And while they're controlling their vehicle, they have to have help for success. And, we're going to have a wreck with 15 cars in it, and 2 or maybe 3 caused it. The other 12 are just there. And I think that's what gets you.
You and Jeff both said the same word. It was aggression. When you go to a place like Talladega, though, we sometimes see drivers, particularly Denny Hamlin, which he will probably do it next week because he has nothing to lose, but they hang out towards the back, we ride around, and then the final stage, we kind of pick it up. But what do you mean by aggression, and how do you be aggressive at that place?
So I think you have to be aggressive, but you have to be intelligently aggressive. And what I mean by that is I want my driver to know that I'm going to support whatever he does, whether that's forward or backward, because we're in it together. So if you wreck trying to take the lead, no problem. If you bail out because you think they're going to wreck and they don't wreck, that's okay. Like, I'm not going to criticize the decision making. I think a driver crew chief, as you will learn in the coming years, is a lot like a marriage.
Oh.
And when I say by this is the most important part of a marriage is supporting when things don't go right. And I think that if your driver does everything you can, and as a crew chief you bring the best car you can, you can't criticize that these decisions. We show the replays in slow-mo. The decisions are not made in slow-mo.
No.
They are made like this.
Yes.
So I just want my driver to do what he does best, which is drive a race car. And I want him to do it for himself and just be selfish and just go make it happen. And if it doesn't happen, then we're going to go to Martinsville. But that's how I want my driver to be. I want him, not that you can call it freewheeling because they're going to be nervous, but I just want him freewheeling. I want him feeling like he's on offense.
We also hear a lot about the teammates and manufacturers helping each other and working together. What are conversations like at organizations when there's certain playoff drivers in, some of your drivers aren't in the playoffs?
So I think you have to be organized and have a plan when you pit under green. A coin flip decision when you catch 2 guys and you could push the guy that's your teammate versus another teammate, I would be okay with this. But at the same time, don't handcuff anyone. We used to have these meetings, and Dale would sit in there, and Jeff Gordon would sit in there, 2 of the best who ever do it, and they would do it all this, and they would stand up and be like, hey, so I'm just going to apologize now, because I'm going to do what I think I need to do to win.
Yeah.
And then Jeff would be like, I'm glad you say that. Okay, buddy. And they would basically agree to disagree right there. And I think that's the key to me. The key to me is, look, if you have to push someone, make the decision that has a greater good. But I want every driver trying to drive their car to a win. So I think there's a whole part of it. Because look, there's a counter. Yeah, all pit together, work together. And when a mistake happens, you all wreck together. So there is some potential negative. When this is all of your teams coming together and 2 guys hook each other, now I do think you should pit together, and there's some communication things, but man, there's a lot going on. The place will be packed.
Yeah.
Boulevard will be electric.
Yep. It's gotten to where we race there in April, we race there later in the fall. The fall race is just as rowdy as the spring race. Maybe might be a little undercover more. Don't tell anybody. But the fall race it brings out some good ones. So I'm excited to get down there to Talladega. But before we close here, our weekend winners, I'm going to let you go first for this weekend. Who is your weekend winner here at Vegas?
So this is low-hanging fruit, right? But I think that we got to see a different side of Denny Hamlin today. He's the winner for me. He sat on the pole. He showed real emotion. He gave a real interview. He didn't have the car to win.
No.
Did so many things. Like, sometimes we should reach and find, and there's some other ones, but this one to me is very clear that human performance was on display today. I said it on the broadcast that, great stars do great things in great moments, Hamlin did it, so he's my weekend winner. Low-hanging fruit, but I'll take the winner.
Hamlin's had a good burnout every single win. He's got 6 of them on the year. I mean, good gracious, we just keep winning. But Denny, it was choking up in the car. He choked up a little bit in the interview. So I also think that that's a weekend winner. But I'm going to give credit to Kyle Larson as well, because we have, me particularly too, on this show.
Can we say he's back? Because
He's
I feel like he's back.
It's like the Tiger
Yes.
Woods effect.
I
Like,
like
where
it.
has Tiger been? And then all of a sudden he wins the Masters. But Kyle Larson, he finishes in the top 2 in all 3 stages. He's 35 on the championship 4 cut line. Now, we have 2 wild weeks, so I'm not saying that he's locked into the championship 4, but Kyle Larson controls his own destiny here because of how he ran.
This Kyle Larson and this
Correct.
5 team and this whatever,
Yeah.
this has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
For sure.
When Denny, and Chase Briscoe were racing at the end,
Yeah.
what car did you see was the best car in the closing laps?
I thought it was Larson's race to win.
Okay.
Kyle Petty said it. So I thought it was Larson's. Truth be known, I thought Bowman was going to sneak through there.
Me too.
Then I thought it was Larson's. Then Denny and Larson parked each other here once on the front stretch with the side drafts, and I'm like, holy crap, 2 tires is going to work. And so it was this emotion, and then became clear it was the 11. But I'm with you. I thought Larson had a monster weekend without a win.
Last but not least, let's play, I think John's telling me, we have the Larson sound. Can we tee that up?
Big enough gap down the backstretch to go to the top and get rolling momentum. But yeah, his car, the Toyotas in general, were really, really, really fast on the short run and had a lot of speed. And yeah, he must have nailed the bottom behind me, got to my inside, and it was kind of, over from there. But yeah, he did an awesome job. He got up on the wheel there. I mean, I felt like I was up on the wheel, and he did a really good job. I tried to take his line away in 3 and 4, and he got to my outside. So rarely do you see Denny do that, and he did a great job. So hats off to them. Hats off to my team, too. We had an awesome day as well. I think we were second maybe in the first stage, won the next stage, and second in the race. So, good points today. Obviously, would have liked, the issue with the 10 and the 24 to not happen, because we had just kind of taken control of the race there and was going to kind of cruise to a victory. But, that's racing, and it gets crazy. So happy though still to get a good finish. It was getting hectic there.
He talked about this team. For me, a massive turnaround from Kansas 2 weeks ago with Hendrick Motorsports. Toyota looked so dominant there at Kansas, and I found the question mark that I was looking for on these intermediate tracks from Hendrick.
Yeah, and listen, his comments about Denny, I think, are the best analysis we can give.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you what I thought, but he is arguably one of the best to have ever sat in one of these things, and he was almost like he couldn't give the accolades enough. He's like, man, he just did a great job. He just drove a hell of a race. But yeah, look, it's round 1 of a 3-round heavyweight fight. And right now, it is an amazing time of the year, because I do believe that what makes sports great is, look, I love cars and strategy and all this stuff, but people don't cheer on cars. People cheer on people. And right now, the drivers are the stars, the pit crews, the crew chiefs, and they're putting their abilities on display, and it's so much fun.
I always feel like this is my favorite part of the season. When you wake up the Monday after the Roval, there's just like an extra little click in your step. Hey, we have 4 weeks left to go. Now it's narrowed down to 3.
It's on.
We're closing in to where we know the championship 4 that will race for a title come Phoenix in just 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It's quick. Yeah,
3
something
weeks
like
from
that.
today?
3 from
3
today.
weeks from today. Light at the end of the tunnel, and we will know who wins the championship and takes home the trophy here in 2025. But Denny Hamlin is locked in. He is the first driver that's locked into the championship 4. And big news for you guys that are watching at home the races for the next 3 weeks. They're all on the Big Bird.
They're
all on NBC.
NBC. Just tune in, NBC. You can watch this right into Sunday Night Football. What a great day on the couch.
Perfect day on the couch.
Great time.
Have us teed up as well, because Inside the Race will also be live. Steve and I will be joining you from the rest of the races throughout the season. So we look forward to hosting you here on Inside the Race. Thanks so much for joining us. From Steve, myself, thanks for Jeff Burton and Kyle Petty joining us. Goodbye from Las Vegas. We'll see you next week as we head to Talladega.